Chapter 3, Prisoner of War. Getting ready for a big one here. Remember when we last left, they were pretty much in trouble here. They lost their factory in Jalisco. Father-in-law had helped them set it back up, but still things weren't going well. He got drafted in the army. Anya was on her way back to Sosnovich with the family. All right, let's find out how this prisoner of war thing goes. I visited my father more often in order to get more information about his past. Have some more green beans, Artie? Yes, look, you don't eat anything. No thanks, I've had enough. So finish at least what's on your plate. Okay. You know, Mala, when I was little, if I didn't eat everything Mom served, Pop and I would argue until I ran to my room crying. You should know it's impossible to argue with your father. Mom would offer to cook something I liked better, but Pop just wanted to leave the leftover food around until I ate it. Sometimes he'd even save it to serve again and again until I'd eat it or starve. Yes, so it has to be. Always you must eat all what is on your plate. Ach, Vladek. Okay, here we go. Fortunately for me, Mom would eventually feed me something I liked and throw away the old food while you weren't looking. Yes, Anya was always too easy with you. Always. Thanks for the dinner, Mala. It was delicious. The chicken was, I thought, too dry. Come, we'll talk better in the living room. Okay, I'll get my notebook. I tell you, with Mala, I don't know what to do. Please, Pop, I'd rather not hear all that again. Tell me about 1939 when you were drafted. We got a dark spot. The war is so much darker. 1939. Yes, we were given army trainings for a few days, and then by the start of September, we were on the frontier. We were all digged into the trenches near a river. On the other side was Germans. It was everything quiet until near morning. Wait a minute. They only trained you for a few days before sending you into combat? Well, the first time I went into the army for 18 months when I was 21. Then every 4 years I went to Lublin for a month to train. You know, my father tried to keep all his children out from the army because when he was young, he had then to go into the Russian army, and there they took you for 25 years to Siberia. My father pulled out 14 of his teeth to escape. If you missed 12 teeth, they let you go. So when my brother Marcus got 21 years, Father put him on a starvation diet. Always Marcus was sickly, so thin. And when he went for the army examination, they didn't take him. A year later, when it came my turn, Father wanted me to make me do the same thing. It was something terrible. 3 months before the examination, he started with me. Wake up, Vladek, you're sleeping too much. Only 3 hours a night. Stop, Vladek, you mustn't eat so much. But I'm hungry. Okay, have one more herring. For 3 months, I ate only salted herring and no water to lose weight. And a few days before the exam, no sleep and no food. Good boy, just a little more coffee. Only a gallon of coffee a day for my heart. And when finally I went for my medical examination, here's a healthy one. No, there seems to be something wrong with him. Build yourself up for a year, young man, and we'll review your case again. And look how gaunt and hollow he is there. He doesn't look healthy at all, does he? The next year, Father wanted I would again do the same thing, but I begged him, and at 22, I went into the army. Okay, but let's get back to 1939. Yes, you see how you mix me up? In 1939, we were on the frontier, digged into the trenches by a river. It was quiet until near morning. Then I heard shooting on both sides. An officer sneaked over to me. Dig in deeper, you'll get killed. Your gun is cold. Why aren't you shooting? I didn't see it. What to shoot? Kapow, kapow, kapow. But I dig deeper and I started to shoot. Then bullets came in my direction. Ba-ding! I dug deeper in my trench, but I stopped to shoot. Why should I kill anyone? Ba-ding! But then I looked in my gun. I saw a tree, and the tree was actually moving. I must be seeing things. How can a tree run? Well, if it moved, I had to shoot. Bing! Ah! It held up a hand to show it was hurt, to surrender. But I kept shooting and shooting until finally the tree stopped moving. Who knows? Otherwise he could have shot me. After 2 hours of fighting, the Nazis overcame our side of the river. Get up. See, and they're the cats. Give me your gun. It's hot. You were shooting at us. My commander made me shoot. I only fired in the air. I answered in German, and his partner stopped him from beating me. They marched me to where it was more like me, war prisoners. And all from us what weren't injured, they marched over to their side of the river to look for dead soldiers. So they're already making them do the work. Attention! All prisoners will carry our dead and wounded to the waiting Red Cross trucks. You! Where do you think you are going? I thought I saw a body over by the river. I knew where the one I shot would be laying. Yes, here. Ervublet. His blood ran out. Carry him over to the truck with the others. His name was Jan, and I knew that I killed him. And I said to myself, well, at least I did something. They took us to a place near Nuremberg where there was many war prisoners. The Jews, they made it to stand separate. It's all your fault, this war. We should hang you right here on this spot. Of course, nobody of us said a word. Put down all your valuables. He came up to me. I had maybe 300 zlotys. Why so much money, Jew? Many others only had 5 or 6 zlotys. Do you expect to do some business here? Show me your hands. You never worked a day in your life. His hands are all soft. Like Artie, my hands were always very... Like you, Artie, my hands were always very delicate. Well, don't worry, Jew. We'll find work for you. And they did. Another German took 4 or 5 of us from us to a stable. See this mess? It better be spotlessly clean in 1 hour. Understand? It was impossible to do it in 1 hour. We really worked very hard, but in an hour later, so, not finished yet. This will cost you your soup, you lazy bastards. And somehow we did make the job in only an hour and a half. But look what you do, Artie. Huh? You're dropping on the carpet cigarette ashes. You want it should be like a stable here? Oops, sorry. He's cleaning it all up. Clean it, yes. Otherwise, I have to do it. Mala would let it sit like this for weeks and never touch it. He looks all exasperated. And she knows how with my sicknesses it's hard now for me to do such things. Okay, it's clean. So we lived and worked a few weeks in the stable until they took us to an even bigger prisoner of war camp. The Polish prisoners get heated cabins. See, they're in the cabins and they're here in these tents. Yes, and we're just left here to freeze in these tents. It was terrible cold that autumn. All over Europe, it was so freezing that birds fell from the trees. To keep warm, we had only our summer uniforms and a thin blanket. At least if they gave us enough to eat, and they're shivering. The other prisoners get 2 meals a day. We Jews get only a crust of bread and a little soup. Good morning, Vladek. Where are you going? To bathe in the river. You've gone crazy. Brr, I'll be clean, and I'll feel warm all day by comparison. Many others got frostbite wounds. In the wounds it was pus, and in the pus was lice. Every day I bathed and did gymnastics to keep strong, and every day we prayed, and that's the Jewish writing. I was very religious, and it wasn't else to do. Often we played chess to keep our minds busy and make the time go. I had a set made from stones and breadcrumbs. And one time a week we would write letters through the International Red Cross. Dear Anya, I am fine. I miss you. Only in German and very careful. And through this came a package. Chocolate bars, cigarettes, jam. It was so treasuring for me, this package. I had a sign my family was safe, and because I never smoked, I had cigarettes to trade for food. And so things went for maybe 6 weeks. Then, look, there's announcements outside. And here's the announcement. Workers needed. War prisoners may volunteer for labor assignments to replace German workers called to the front. Housing and abundant food will be supplied. It's a trick. Never volunteer. If we have to die, let's die here. No, I didn't agree. I'm not going to die, and I won't die here. I want to be treated like a human being. When my comrades saw that I was going, they too registered. We were right away sent to a big German company. We were taken to nice wooden houses. We got soup. We got bread. Look, a stove and real beds with sheets and pillows. And for a whole day, we only rested and got back our strength. It seems like years since I felt warm or been in a bed. Yes, funny, isn't it? It's only a little over 2 months since we were drafted. I'm worried, though, Vladik. Who knows what kind of work they'll give us? Anything is better than rotting in those tents, I suppose. The next day we were given shovels and picks. Things what we needed, what we never held in our hands before. The work was really very hard. We had to move mountains, the mountain into the valley to level it off. The hills were made 3 or 4 yards high. We had to make it level. Some complained, those who were too old or weak for such work. I can't take any more. And he whacks him with his rifle. Worthless Jew. Excuse me. If you're unhappy, go back to the POW camp. It's okay. We'll help you when no one is looking. We tried to help, but what you think? Some went back to the tents to freeze and to starve. But what happened to them, I don't know. Still, 80% stayed. There was enough to eat and a warm bed, and it was better to stay. Always I went to sleep exhausted, and one night I had a dream. Don't worry. A voice was talking to me. It was, I think, my dead grandfather. Don't worry, my child. It was so real, this voice. You will come out of this place free on the day of the Parshas trauma. I woke up right away, and when I went to sleep again, it was Parshas trauma. Parshas trauma. So what's Parshas trauma? Each week on Saturday, we read a section from the Torah. This is so-called a Parsha. And 1 week each year, it is Parshas trauma. Before work, a few of us from us prayed. It was a rabbi there with us. One moment, Rabbi, will you read the Parshas trauma? Parshas trauma? In the middle of February? Almost 3 months from now? Why? 3 months, and every day was for us a year. I told him my dream. Let's hope it's true. I'm afraid we'll never get out of here. So we worked. Day after day we survived. Week after week the same, and they're picking and shoveling and moving things. Until one time, look, soldiers! It came very many Gestapo and Wehrmacht. Attention, line up on the road in 2 rows, immediately. We were not at ease. We didn't know what they could do with us. I stood always in a second line. Right there he is. Psst, Vladik. I didn't want that they should see me much. Someone sneaked next to me. Rabbi, do you know what day it is? Saturday, of course. But do you know what a Saturday? It's Parshas trauma. They marched us to the main courtyard and lined us up by alphabet at the tables. Name and rank. Spiegelman Vladik, Corporal. Destination upon release. Sosnovich. This the Germans did very good. To my wife and my child. Always they did everything very systematic. Very well, sign this release form. And it was all done in one day. You mean your Parsha's trauma dream actually came true? Yes, this is for me a very important date. I checked later on a calendar. It was this Parsha on the week I got married to Anya. And it was this the Parsha in 1948 after the war on the week that you were born. And so it came out to be this Parsha you sang on the Saturday of your bar mitzvah. The next morning, each from us got a Red Cross package, and they loaded us on a train to Poland. During the journey, I sat with the rabbi. So, my son, now I see you are a Rohe Kanol, one who sees what the future will bring. Hey, this train seems to be passing Sosnovich. When they didn't stop the train, I became very worried. You see, the Nazis divided Poland into pieces, Protectorate and Reich, with the guarded border between. There we have the Poland, and there's the guarded border. The Reich is annexed to Germany. The Protectorate is a German-controlled government. In other words, they moved all the Poles into Warsaw, Lublin, and Krakow, and pretended to be the government while they kept them basically in prison. The train went completely past my part of Poland, the Reich, and stopped only in the Protectorate. Those with papers for Krakow, out. And when it stopped in Warsaw, the rabbi got out. I'll write to you. But I never heard again from him. It became such a misery in Warsaw, almost none survived. The train was a long way past Sosnovich. They took me up very far, maybe 300 miles, until we came to Lublin. There they unloaded all of us from the Reich. In Lublin, they took us to big tents. And there we sat. Eventually came some people to see us from Jewish authorities. Why are we being kept here? It's a very bad situation. Just before you arrived, there was another group of released war prisoners. 2 days ago, the Nazis marched them into a forest, and they shot all of them. They killed 600 people. And you can see them shooting them, leaving them all there in basically a trench. We were the next party. I thought you were released as a prisoner of war. Exactly so. International laws protected us a little as Polish war prisoners, but a Jew of the Reich, anyone could kill in the streets. So they had no rights whatsoever. I was very frightened. Then we heard something to give us a little hope. We've bribed the Germans to release the prisoners into the homes of local Jews who will claim you as relatives. My name's Spiegelman. There's a friend of my family named Orbach in Lublin. I met him when I was here for army training. Fine, we'll try to register you as his cousin. That night I went out from the tent. I had to urinate, and the rifle shot goes right by him. I ran quick inside. I thought all night different things what would happen to us. Then as soon as it was light, Spiegelman, Vladek, Orbach, I'm glad to see you. And in 10 minutes, I was free. Orbach was a friend from my uncle. He had 2 beautiful daughters near to my age. I'm sorry we can't offer you a better meal, Vladek, but the Jews of Lublin get very few food coupons. One moment, girls, I have a gift for each of you. Oh my God, chocolate! These I saved from the Red Cross package. Always I saved, just in case. Eventually, when I came again to Sosnovich, we sent them food packages. We were, for a while, a little better off, and they wrote it back very happy how it helped survive them. Then they wrote that the Germans were keeping the packages and that they stopped to write. Finished. With Orbach's, I stayed a few days, recuperating, but I was restless. How could I manage to sneak across the border to my family? Trains were still going from the Protectorate Reich to Reich. Only one needed legal papers Of course, this I didn't have. But anyway, I got on the train in the direction I wanted. I approached to the train man, a Pole. May I talk to you for a moment? See, he's wearing a mask, pretending to be someone else. Sure, soldier. I still had on my army uniform, and I didn't let know I was a Jew. You're a Pole like me, so can I trust you? The stinking Nazis had me in a war prison. I just escaped. The Poles were very bitter on the Germans, so it was good to speak bad of them. I'm trying to get back to Sosnovich, back to my family. Don't worry, when we get back to the border, hide in here. And so the train man helped me come back to my side of Poland. I walked first over to my parents' house, what I thought I might never see again. Oi, Gewalt, it's Vladek. My son, thank God you're safe. And in spite of everything, you look healthy. I'm strong, Mother. It's because I was worried about you. But it wasn't only this. She was sick of cancer. Oh, I'm strong, Mother, but you look sick. It's because I was worried about you. But it wasn't only this. She was sick of cancer. And a month or two later, she died. She never knew how terrible everything would soon be. And Father, your beard, what happened? You shaved it off. It's growing back now. He was very religious, so like a rabbi, and of course, he always had a big beard. In September, the German soldiers grabbed many Jews in the street. They made us sing prayers while they laughed and beat us. And before letting us go, they cut off our beards. And now the demons have taken away my seltzer factory. Enough! I must bring Vladek home to Anya before curfew. At 7 o'clock, it was a rule. All Jews had to be in their home and lights out. From my parents to Sosnovich, I was only a short ride. Go in and say you just got a letter from me saying I'll be home in a week. I stood at the door listening. Don't joke. If Vladek was coming home, he'd have written us too. And he's snickering. Surprise! Oh my God, Vladek! I grabbed my son. He was 2.5 years. Richaud, wah! He started screaming. Why do you cry, my boy? I'm your father. He's screaming, wah! Sniff the buttons, your metal buttons, Daddy. They're cold. And I don't need to tell you how big the joy was in our house. Even though everything was very tough, and it was really very tough, we were happy only to be together. Not so like it is now with me and Mala. I tell you, if Anya could be alive now, it would be different with me. Mala makes me crazy, only she talks about money, always about my will. Please, Pop. You always tell me the same things. There's nothing I can do. But I haven't with whom else to talk. And it's for you I watch out my money. Geez, let's all talk about it next time. I'll call you. Besides, it's getting late. I ought to get home before curfew. Hey, where's my coat? I know I put it in here. Mala, did you put my coat someplace? No? Are you going now? She's doing a crossword puzzle. I'll make you some coffee. No thanks, I'm not thirsty. And you make the worst coffee I've ever tasted. But I still have that big bag of espresso you once left here. But that was over 6 months ago. That coffee's completely stale. So maybe some tea? No thanks, just my coat. Oh, Dad, have you seen my coat anywhere? Yes, I threw it out. What? You're kidding. Give it back. It's too late. When you were sitting first down to dinner, I threw it outside. By now the garbage men took it away. Such an old shabby coat. It's a shame my son should wear such a coat. But I like it. I have for you a warmer one. I got it at Alexander's, a new jacket. And I can give you my old one. It's still like new. Here, just try it on a minute. Oh, great, a Naga hide windbreaker. And it's too big. Ah, it looks on you like $1 million. Look, Dad, you can't do this to me. I'm over 30 years old. I choose my own clothes. After you wear it a little, you'll see how good it looks. Come, I'll walk you downstairs. Don't forget, Artie, you'll call me this week and we can talk. You really threw out my coat? I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. And we go to chapter 4.